Beyond Saltmarsh is a game played by adults and recorded for an adult audience. Sometimes we use adult language and explore adult topics. Consider yourself warned.
Hello, Twitch friends. How you doing, everybody? Kirk Ski Bob, Valkyrie Bait, Dungeons and Dragons Diva. Welcome. My name's Dave. I'm your humble dungeon master. We are the Superior Adventurers Guild, and we're getting excited to kick off another episode of Beyond Saltmarsh. But before we do, I would like to introduce you to our players tonight. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hello. I had to fight the urge to say what's up.
And we appreciate you.
Yes, we do. Cheers.
I still said it.
That's all right.
Just
Go ahead and
not
introduce
loudly.
yourselves, guys.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Andy. I'm playing Rhunar Deg. He is an 8th level human dual sword wielding champion fighter. And also the captain of the Good Buddy.
Woohoo.
I am Kirk. I am playing Byron Hern, a 7th level rogue, 1st level fighter, who just recently acquired a 7-foot tapestry that he has no idea what he's going to do with. Yeah.
Decorate your quarters in the ship, maybe.
Ah.
Hello, I'm Chad. I'm playing Irin Coalbiter, all dwarf, all monk, all blacksmith, all punches, sometimes headbutts,
Often in the groin.
also groin.
Yeah. Let's not leave that out.
It's important.
And once again,
hi.
it's got the groin.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm playing Theoderic Thalassatis, or just Theo, as everyone can pronounce that. I'm playing the resident Hexblade Warlock, who, for the record, so loves this party and this group that as his 8th level feat, he has taken Magic Initiate, so he now has access to Cure Wounds. You sons of
Ooh,
guns.
what a guy.
Nice.
What a guy.
Nice.
How many times can you cast that?
I was thinking of
Twice per long rest, or per short rest. So, just there's going to be a lot of, we're taking a breather, guys. Why? Because otherwise you're going to bleed to death.
Fair enough.
Yeah, those are some very valuable spell slots, so you guys better appreciate the heal.
Because otherwise it could be Armor of Agathis, and really that's our major damage dealer.
That's done well for you guys for sure. So we've got a couple announcements before we get started. Chad, why don't you start us off?
Hello, it's me again with your announcement. Check it out this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We, the number of us who are here, we're going to play some Altered State right here. Altered State is a cyberpunk game by Runehammer Games using an index card RPG. If you don't know what it is, use the Googles or the Bings. If you do know what it is, sweet. It's going to be super fun. I'm running it, and it's going to be wild. It's called The Root of All Things, but I did miswrite it on Twitter the other day as The End of All Things because, let's be honest.
Oof.
We know how these games go.
That's a subliminal slip, I think, that we all need to be aware of.
wow.
I'm pulling the plug.
It's going to be
Just
sweet.
here. Yeah.
So,
Nice.
yeah, come check it out.
Different
I hope you
system. Yeah, index card RPG. That'll be fun. I'm a little nervous, I have to admit. I got to do some studying before now in the game, but I'm very, very excited. I even have a few, I think I'm going to cosplay it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I'm going to do a voice.
I'm
Hey.
jelly.
Dungeons and Dragons Diva, thanks for following our stream. Hey.
Yeah.
A second announcement real quick is that on February 13th, we will have our next episode of Roll Your Doom, a show where so far it's been a show where Chad has been doing demos of really cool DM tools and storytelling tools. We are broadening the scope a little bit this next episode with an interview of Christian Zuck, who is a published author of RPG content on the DMs Guild. You might have seen his stuff. He's produced and published things like Encounters in Barovia, which I've definitely used in my Strahd game. Encounters in Icewind Dale, which I will probably be using because of a recent win of an Icewind Dale book that just came my way. Map packs and everything. So the idea is we want to interview him to get his perspective on content creation, how he transitioned into doing it as a way to earn some bucks. And I'm excited. He's a really nice guy, and I'm looking forward to that. So Chad and I will be interviewing him on February 13th, and we've got a couple other folks that we're recruiting for some interviews. So yeah, I'm excited. It'll be fun to expand that show a little bit. So please check that out. That is February 13th. That's a Saturday, 2 p.m. CST to 3. So yeah, so here we go. We're going to jump back into our Beyond Saltmarsh game, and I'd like to do a quick recap here of what happened last episode. So the Deg Gang found themselves entering pretty shady warehouse in Monmurg's docks district. Say that fast 5 times. What was their purpose for entering the docks district? Well, classic D&D quest to recover some rare fruits. Right? We've all been there. The way it went down, Irin tried to bluff his way into a sort of temporary job status, if you will, with a group of shady thugs who called his bluff, and thinking they were just a few of another individual, this guy named Tiernan Karst's flunkies, the boss man of these thugs, significantly underestimated the party's capabilities, although it was a pretty good fight. One of the thugs turned out to be a dwarven barbarian, and he was able to get a bunch of licks in on the gang. There was a pirate deck wizard, which, as if you've been following our stream, you know the gang really loves the deck wizards. So that was basically an automatic fight right there. Theo, using his Armor of Agathis, which he mentioned before, served a great purpose, inflicting insane amounts of damage to the boss man, who eventually was forced to flee but got stopped dead in his tracks by a sick sentinel move by our Warlock. The barbarian held his own, raging, shaking off Rhunar's almost surgical attacks with his scimitars, and all the while Byron was skulking around outside the warehouse, eventually finding his way to the exterior balcony where the deck wizard and 2 sentries were posted, flinging arrows into and magic missiles down into and onto his companions. Byron took to the offense and skewered the deck wizard, basically right through the eyeball with his rapier, which is sort of a signature move now. Byron. Down below, Irin had one of the thugs grappled and maneuvered him into a ground and pound scenario for massive amounts of damage. But rather than kill the guy, Irin lifted him to his feet, patted him on the back, and encouraged him to flee. Following suit, Theo ordered the boss man to stop fighting, and for a moment there was a sense of calm. Until the body of the deck wizard fell from the balcony, landing right behind Theo as he was sort of negotiating this treaty, and the bossman and his thugs took that opportunity to flee with a little bit of last-minute fighting, but eventually they were forced to flee the scene. Party did some investigation of this warehouse. They discovered a pair of cowering businessmen who had and then these businessmen successfully negotiated their release, much to Byron's chagrin. But meanwhile, Theo and Rhunar made their way downstairs in search of this Tiernan Karst individual who they'd been looking for, and they did find him tied to a chair, bloodied, beaten, and surrounded by a flock of Kenku thugs. In the aftermath, the party discovered the 18 crates of stolen fruit that they'd been tasked with recovering, along with a couple of valuable trinkets, and they also discovered that the thugs weren't just dealing in stolen produce. Locked away in the cellar, Rhunar discovered 6 humans who'd been held against their will. In a stroke of crazy D&D coincidence, the Deg Gang had broken up a slaving operation in their quest for Alesco's rare fruits. Byron made his way back to the ship, the good buddy, and eventually, as the sun was beginning to rise over the port of Monmurg, the party sailed away with the stolen cargo loaded and made off with a successful mission. And so that's where we find ourselves. the next morning, after everybody's had a chance to take a long rest, heal themselves, you do have now a conscious Tiernan Karst. You have the cargo that you recovered. You are on the Good Buddy, and it is the morning. What would you guys like to do?
We need to let Alesko know we have his fruit and get it to him real quick.
Agreed.
Yeah, should we send somebody there, or should one of us go ourselves? Or should we all go?
I think one of us should go because I just know if we all go, they're going to come out of the water and attack somehow. I don't know how. I just worry.
Dave, so
Maybe two of us?
we've all had a long rest, just to confirm.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Huzzah, the long rest.
How about I will
I'll
go
go.
because I am a talker, and I will take Irin with me as my buddy because he is short and I am tall, and that way we make an appealing couple to whoever we talk to.
Sure.
What?
Yeah.
I can
if
go
we're gonna,
too.
No,
if we're gonna
we need
split
you
up, I think
here.
we should do two
What?
people.
We need you here, my friend, in case they try and sneak up on us. You can sneak up on them sneaking up on us, which makes it
I'll
better.
skewer them.
Exactly, probably through the eye. Also, you know what you can do that you're very good at, and I want to be nowhere near? Talk to Tiernan Karst.
You want me to talk to Karst?
No, I want Rhunar to talk to Tiernan Karst, but you're going to do it anyway, so might as well just give in, eh?
I can be very persuasive. How are we
I
talking
think-
to him? Are we being friendly?
I believe that is between you and the captain. I'm going to get on a boat with Irin.
think we
Irin,
could-
come, let us get on a boat.
Yes.
We'll
I
go
don't
find
know.
out what his
I don't
name
know why
is.
I'm talking like this now. I'm Batman.
I thought that was just how Coalbiter.
That is kind of my voice. My voice is definitely
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
not
just,
a huge stretch.
it's not a big stretch.
Yeah, right. All right, so Theo, you and Irin are taking the small boat into town, into Monmurg. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're headed towards Alesko's offices in the marketplace, the merchant's ward.
Yes.
Okay. Meanwhile, Rhunar and Byron are going to have a chat with Tiernan Karst.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, let's start off with the Tiernan Karst conversation. You have him. First of all, where did you put him? Where is he on the ship?
I think we set him up down below with a bedroll or something. I don't know. There isn't any room in any of the cabins, right? You could have slept in Fritz's cabin.
I don't know if
No,
Fritz
we
would-
like Fritz. Let's not do that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's
I
just set
guess-
him up downstairs.
Yeah, just by the cargo bedroll.
We're not going to give him free reign of the ship either, are we? We're going to have him
No.
pretty much locked away.
And
Probably,
I kept on.
probably assign a dude to check to keep an
Yeah,
eye
where
on him.
where a guard
Good call,
could
good call.
check in on him.
Okay. So you've got him sort of under a watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll go to Rhunar. Rhunar,
Yeah.
you be the good cop. I'll be the bad cop.
All
We'll
right,
find
but
out if this guy was involved in this this operation that we broke up.
right. Well, I mean, what do we know? What do we know right now?
Well, we know that according to Filiberto, he was at the Tarpaulin free before we went to the warehouse and found him beat up in that underground area. So
Yeah.
either he's involved in the fruit theft or he's a victim. Filiberto lied to us, and we have another guy we need to hunt down.
Because didn't Filiberto say that?
That list gets longer and longer every session.
Didn't Filiberto say that he was looking for people for work, like
Yeah,
to
he
help
said
him with something?
he said Tiernan Karst was looking for people to help him with work.
Yeah. So I wonder if he was trying to sell this fruit to those guys and they just double crossed him.
Well, we can always ask him. You should go in
Right.
first, or should I go in first? I can go in first.
Sure.
All right. So I'll walk up to the door and I'll open it, and I'll let whoever we have guarding it. I'll be like, you can go handle some, do a run around the ship and just do basic maintenance. Let me know if there's anything you need,
Aye, aye.
and then I'll sit down. Or no, I won't sit down. I'll drag a chair in with me because I'm assuming there's no chair in the room, and I'll sit down on the chair in front of Tiernan, and I'll take out a dagger.
Okay.
So
Now,
you get detention.
you're in trouble. What room of the ship is this? Is it in the cargo hold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the hold
Alright,
down
all
there.
right.
Either the cargo
Alright.
hold or the part where the crew sleeps.
Okay. So you walk in and Tiernan is sitting up against the wall on the floor, but back against the wall. He's got his head held in his hands. And as you walk in and sit down in the chair, he kind of looks up at you and he goes, "Where the hell am I?"
So Tiernan, tell me about this fruit.
He kind of shakes his head. You look at him now, and you can see, you saw this the previous night. He's black and blue around his face. He was getting worked over pretty good. He's got dried blood and cuts around him. He's got a bloody rag in his hand that he's been sort of holding against his head. And he just kind of looks up at you, and he's kind of squinting. The fruits. What fruits?
And I'll throw the dagger at the wall behind him.
Oh,
Now-
you mean the fruits?
Yes, those fruit, Tiernan.
Wouldn't the fruit be all around us right now?
Well, if you're in the cargo hold, there's crates. There's 18 crates of
Yeah.
rare fruits.
Yeah, I'll actually have thrown my dagger at one of the symbols
There you go.
just to make it very clear which fruit I'm talking about.
Roll an intimidation check for me. Let us know what you get.
Got a 14.
Okay, nice. Yeah, he seems a bit startled by that. Again, he's very slow on the uptake, but he's like, "Oh, those fruits. Yeah, I was where the hell am I? Who are you again?" He kind of sits up a little bit more against the wall now as he's trying to sort of get his bearings.
I'm going
He's
to take
kinda
out a
looking
second
around.
dagger, and I'm going to throw it above his head into the wall.
Okay.
Tell me about the fruit, Tiernan.
The fruit we were robbed, and the fruit was stolen, and my partners were killed, and
Who else knew about your mission to get these fruit?
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was just us. We were doing the job for the boss, and he says, "Go down and get these boxes." That we go get the boxes. We take them from the ship to the warehouse, and in transit, we got, ambushed, and my buddies were killed. Hold on a sec.
He's crying. He's
I'm
crying.
rolling up. Okay.
Are
Yep.
they good buddies?
Here's the thing, Tiernan.
How dare you?
We talked to Alesko, and he said you set up this fruit shipment. He said it was your idea to set up the fruit, and you set it all up, and he trusted you to go do this. So either you're lying to me, or you really did get robbed. In which case, who did you tell about the fruit, Tiernan Karst? And I'll say his name like Tiernan Karst.
Dave, can I? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, can I perceive if those are real tears?
Are you in the
over
room
his
as well?
fallen yeah, I thought I was.
Okay.
I'm just sitting on to the side.
Yeah, go ahead and roll an insight check. Tell us what you rolled.
Natural 20.
Yeah, there's no tears. There's no tears.
Okay.
He doesn't. He's trying to put on a performance.
Okay.
He kind of looks over at you and looks back to Byron, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, I set up the contract, and the boss said do it. You know, I mean, I got to run everything by him, and then, who are you? Are you with the Mollemans guys? Wait a minute,
I'll
I'm
look at Rhunar.
confused.
I'll say, Rhunar, do you think we should just throw him in the harbor?
So far, I don't believe much of what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really need him alive, do we?
Not necessarily.
And I'll
What
look
do you
at
guys
Tyrion.
want? You have the fruits. What
I want to know
do you need me for?
why you were tied up in a basement with a bunch of birds, and I want to know who knew about your frickin' fruit thing.
Look, I love fruit, man, and I don't know why the birds were there, honestly.
Who were those guys that had you tied up?
That was Molleman's guys. That was I don't know what the guy's name is, but I've seen him around.
Are they a gang? Around
Well,
town here?
They operate like one. You know, they manage part of the port district, and you know, Olesko's got a different section of it, and they're all trying to do business. I don't know why they wanted these fruits, but look, all I want to do is get the fruits to Olesko and be done with this.
Don't worry, we're taking care of that part.
Oh, so you know him?
Yep.
Okay, so if you would have led with that, I wouldn't have been so worried about all this. And he starts to get up. He's like, okay, so we're all on the same team. That
Well, what we're trying to figure out right now is, did you kill the 3 people that you were working with?
no,
and
those
steal
are my
the fruit.
those are my coworkers. Those are my friends.
Are they now?
Are they though?
Who's whispering?
Are they though? So what was with that flock of Kenku that he saw down there with you?
Honestly, I have no idea about those guys.
So
I've
let's
never
back up.
seen them around ever.
So let's back up for a second. So you say you did this deal with Olesko's permission. You got the fruit from the island, Jetsam Island, and you brought him back to Monmurg, only to get jumped by Monmurg. What's his name?
Molleman.
Molleman. You got jumped by Molleman when you got back to Monmurg.
Well, I never left Monmurg. The shipment came in. We had a group of folks bringing the shipment in for us, and we were jumped after we received the shipment at the docks. So
Interesting. And this happened right near the Tarpaulin in broad daylight.
it's a rough part of town.
If you can remember, you know, I lost my train of thought, Rhunar, and I'll look at Rhunar and I'll be like, Rhunar, you know what? I know how I feel about this guy, but I'm gonna just look super angry and I'm just gonna march off. I'm gonna leave.
Okay.
Well, I guess we can always find out if there were any witnesses to the attack. I mean, were you attacked in broad daylight?
Yeah. And I mean, I think the most important thing here, gentlemen, is that we bring the goods back to Olesko and, you know, let him handle it from there. I don't know who you guys are, but the boss wants his fruits, and I'm tell you what, they're pretty ripe. You know what I mean?
All right. I don't know if I'm just gonna.
So you guys question him, and you're trying to get some information on him. He doesn't seem like he's super cooperative, but he does continue to just sort of, you know, plead his innocence regardless of, you know, your insight or whatever. And he continues to suggest that you return the goods and him to his boss. And for that moment, we'll stop there. You guys kind of decide what you want to do. And let's jump over to Irin and Theo. You guys have made your way into the docks district. And what was your plan once getting ashore?
Head to
Olesko?
Olesko's office.
Okay. So you guys end up at Olesko's office, and you walk into his office, and it's just billowing with smoke. He's puffing on this tightly packed pipe, and he's sitting back in his chair. Again, he is an elven man with this sort of white hair that's shoulder length, slicked back, well dressed. He's got a vest on and a tie, and he's sort of kicked back in his chair as you come in. Gentlemen,
Mr. Mariconia, do you always puff this much, or are you worried about something?
I like to smoke. Go ahead and open the window if you like. It is a little smoky in here.
I'm fine. I was just worried that you were worried.
Not like it's a forge or anything.
It's very true.
Well said.
I was hoping to cause your nerves to be at ease if you were worried about your fruit, because the good news, we have your fruit.
You have the fruit.
Tiernan Karst.
Aha! Mr. Karst was recovered as well. Very, very good, gentlemen. Wow, you are efficient. Your captain wasn't kidding when he said that you are the kind of fellows that get things done and solve problems. I like your style.
Rhunar Deg has no sense of humor, I assure you. He is
Indeed.
very serious.
Well, this is good news. The fruits, where are the fruits and where is Mr. Karst?
Both are on our ship. We came to you to figure out where it needs to go.
Oh, very good. And he takes out a piece of paper and he scratches down some information and he hands it to you. And it has an address, a dock, slip, identification. And he gives you a description of where and how to do it, who to talk to, so that you can deliver it to one of his warehouses.
Now, the question I have for you is, my understanding is this is not the type of situation that local law enforcement wants to get involved in. So, what do you want us to do with Tiernan Karst?
Tell me, was there a mess at the... Where did you, first of all, was it Malaman, as I suspected?
Very good question. We do not know yet. We're not in a taking prisoners situation at the time, if you will.
Were there lives lost in the recovery, or?
Well, not ours.
Jinx.
Yeah. I just love they say that in stereo. Not ours. When we decided to track Karst as the quickest way to get answers, and he conveniently, his trail led us to a warehouse in the docks, we went in, we asked about Tiernan Karst. They said, oh, you work for Tiernan Karst. Several men attacked us. We fought back. A deck wizard was killed, as is their due.
No one cares much about deck wizards.
These days, dime a dozen, am I right? But there was another individual who unfortunately did lose his life for the foolishness of trying to kill us. And then the rest of individuals in the warehouse fled. There were some Kenku involved. That was interesting. They were watching Tiernan Karst. I do not know why. There was a couple of gentlemen trying to make a deal with these people who may or may not have been after your delightful fruits.
Two questions. Karst was there.
Yes. Tied to a chair. Beaten heavily. Which is why we haven't really talked to him yet. He just came around as we were leaving.
And the businessmen, any idea who they might have been?
They didn't want to give names, and we were more interested in getting the goods out of there in a timely fashion before anyone who left came back with reinforcements.
Right. Well,
you're on mute, Chad.
Yeah, hold on. I want to, as a businessman myself, formerly, I guess, I'm in the business of pain now. That's fucked up. I would like to leverage my business acumen to just get a little insight into him asking after these businessmen before I give them their names, because I have them.
Okay.
If that makes
go ahead and roll an insight check.
Insight. Yeah, I have no idea. He seems up on. He
roll?
seems on the up and up to me. I rolled. Sorry.
I rolled a 1 face.
You guys can't see that. I rolled a 1.
Aye.
Which is an 8. It's still an 8 because
that's still really good for your insight. That's impressive.
That is a good insight.
I mean, I have an 18 wisdom.
He's hard to read. He kind of gives off this air of like he doesn't care all that much, but then also he's asking some very pointed questions. And he interrupted you specifically to ask you about Tiernan and the businessmen, so that gives you a little bit of insight into the level of interest that he has in that.
It was Henrik and a Thomas. They were both Dave. They were both human, right?
Yes.
Humans.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Maybe this tall.
They weren't injured in the fight.
I mean, one of them might have pissed himself.
That happens.
That only injures the dignity.
Yeah, they were. They were not used to decisive action.
He
to
does
violence.
the thing. He does the thing where he kind of does this, and he looks at you and he says, "Is there any reason that this recovery operation could be tied back to me?"
Only if
maybe
we're
if they-
tied back to you, which puts us in that awkward situation that I would prefer to navigate well.
We didn't explain anything to them.
Very good. Well done.
They really wanted to get out. So unless they saw your crest on any boxes in that building, I would say no.
Well,
We w-
gentlemen, you've done a great service for me, and I appreciate it. If you could have your men deliver the cargo to the location I described, there'll be a man there by the name of Solomon. He'll know what to do. Make sure that you tell him that Tiernan needs a day off. He'll know what that means. In the meantime, I have good news. I have found a purchaser for some of your cargo, and a decent price as well. The wine is going to fetch a pretty penny, well over the price that you quoted, so I'm excited about that. The deal is not done yet, but I will take care of that. And of course, the silk I'm working on. I have no doubt that we'll be able to fetch a much higher price. That's why I'm kind of holding out a little bit. It's very fine silk, turns out. So I haven't quite solidified those deals, but I certainly am in the process of it. And as I mentioned previously, I will not be taking my commission on this. I appreciate what you've done for me in recovering these fruits. It's been nice doing business with you. I believe that I potentially have more work for you if that's something that you're interested in. I know that you had mentioned a desire to continue sailing to the south. However, people with your set of skills could be very useful for a man in my position.
That will be something for the captain to negotiate, which of course Captain Deg will come by your offices at his earliest convenience once we complete delivery and all of that. I did have just 2 questions for you if you have but a spare moment.
Yes, of course.
First of all, where do you get your tobacco? Mine is a little old at this point.
We have many locations here in Monmurg that have fine selections of of a variety of different leaves. I personally like the shop at the corner, and he kind of goes, he can't really remember what it's called, but he's like, the dwarven man on the corner. He has a small shop, sells only tobacco, and it's very, very good. I highly recommend that.
Capital. I will look into it. Secondly, I remember when we were here last and discussing the deal, we had mentioned the possibility of looking into some networking to gain access to the Royal Athenaeum, the library. Because this was for me, I would love to move forward with that when it is convenient for you.
Of course. Let me look into it. Here's what I'll do. Take care of getting my cargo put away, as I asked. I will continue with the sale of your goods. I have a small apartment which I'd be happy to lend to you and your team. It's small, but there's enough room for the 4 of you. Not your entire crew, of course. But if you'd like to stay here in the merchant's ward for as long as you'd like, I can reach out to my contacts at the Royal Athenaeum and see if I can deliver access for you and your friends, if that's something that you're interested in.
I know it absolutely is for me, but of course we will leave the final discussions and negotiations to the captain. Irin, my friend, did you have anything else you wanted in this moment?
Nope, not in this moment.
You are such a laconic man, and I appreciate that about you. Then we will take our leave. Have a lovely day.
Very well, gentlemen. Well, job well done. Thank you. And he taps out his pipe as you're walking out of the room, and you kind of look back and you see he's plugging another pipe full of tobacco.
Get outside.
So-
And you're like, that man has a serious need of addiction. He should seek help for that. And then we got.
All right, so we'll cut back to the ship. So Rhunar and Byron, did you guys decide what you wanted to do next in terms of interrogation or anything with Tiernan?
You know,
Yeah.
I think we discussed it, and we're just going to tie him up and hand him over to Alesko. Have Alesko deal with it.
Okay.
I don't have many feelings about Alesko myself as Byron, so I don't really have a personal stake in whether or not he's innocent or not.
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't know enough about what transpired to kind of figure out if he's
And
telling
we
the
don't
truth or
Want to figure
we
it out.
don't want to commit to it. So we're gonna let Alesko deal with that.
Okay. So safe to say that the crew of the Good Buddy delivers on their promise to return the stolen cargo to Alesko Mariconia's people, delivering also the badly beaten Tiernan Karst, and have an opportunity to have a conversation now whether or not you guys want to hang out in Monmurg for a bit while your supplies are being the sale of your supplies are being negotiated.
Yeah, Theo
Yeah.
relays everything there, like, directly to you guys, up to and including the fact that, I imagine Irin will kind of point out that he was really interested in nothing being tied back to him. He was worried about the merchants, but we did fine with that. He may have more work. He's got the wine sold, but he's working on the silk as well. Also offered us an apartment if we needed it. And he did offer to get me in touch with some people at the Royal Athenaeum for some research, which I would personally very much like to follow through with. That is a personal project.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could wait for these sales to go through. I think that'd be a good thing. We need money for the boat.
He did say he had work.
So, over the next few days or however long that takes, I'm sure, why not?
And I'm
do you
sure,
guys think?
we got a lot of questions about a lot of things that we might be able to find answers for here,
Charts,
Charts.
charts.
the
Weapons,
Griffin
armor.
Wing.
Yeah, somebody might know about these ships, these captains that,
Yeah.
If we really wanted to run deep, I'm sure we could chase down any rumors of the Brotherhood here. I don't know if we want to pursue that, but it's an option on the table in a town like this, I imagine.
I imagine there's probably a presence here.
So watch our asses. Also, did you
Yeah.
learn anything from Tiernan?
No. And we decided it wasn't worth it. You know.
Did
I
you
mean, we-
figure out whose warehouse we broke into?
Some guy named What's the name?
Well, I don't know if that was actually his warehouse, was it? I guess maybe we didn't figure that out.
I think it was Mark.
You mean Muleman? Muleman was the name Muleman? Malaman?
Malaman.
The business rival of Alesko Batrushka?
Yeah, that was him. That was him.
No,
and his man.
not Suleiman. Isn't that?
No, what are you talking about?
The important part is when you come into a situation like this, it's
Classic.
very important to know who we just pissed off, and that is who we have pissed off. So
Okay.
let us be careful around anyone related to that.
Yeah, and, maybe we stay up in the Merchants Guild
I think
area
we
for
could
a
find
little
out
while.
whose warehouse that was very easily by going to the tarpaulin and dragging Filiberto back to the boat.
I don't think we want to make those kind of waves right now, because the other thing is, if Mulaman has people trying to figure out what's going on, and we were very upfront that we were looking for Tiernan Karst, they may start trying to track down Tiernan Karst's friends, which will take them to the tarpaulin, which, okay, fine, they find out we showed up, whatever. We don't want to then be there or be again associated with the place for the people who may be looking for us now, because again, we really probably pissed in someone's Cheerios, if you will take. It's an elven saying, I know. I'm sorry,
Right.
but you understand.
But we know. I guess flock of Kenku aside, we know that we ran into Malaman and sent him packing. Do we need to worry about him?
We don't know. I do not think that was Mulliman, because Mulliman is probably like a Lesko. He probably has a very rich house that he does business with well away from this.
I can imagine that if somebody's going to take issue with anything that we did and they want to come back, they're going to come back hard. So,
Ooh.
yeah, we're probably
Maybe-
going to need to think about that.
This happens
Maybe
all the time
Mulliman-
in grad school. Don't worry. Byron will
Maybe-
tell you.
Maybe
Theo.
Mulliman was one of the guys in the office.
No, their names were Henrik and Thomas.
Oh,
They could have lied. Yes, Byron.
They might have given you those names. but
can't you resurrect the leader and we can question him?
We
One,
didn't kill the leader.
no.
turn him
Two,
into a zombie.
We didn't kill him. 3, why do you people keep thinking I am a necromancer?
Oh yeah.
Have I at ever raised the dead as the undead?
Yes.
Yes.
Twice, but that is not important. That is a very short-term, very specific thing, only for specific purposes.
Like-
It is a gift that I do not abuse.
But this would be a great opportunity not to abuse it, but
I
to
also
use
don't
it.
talk.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Also, we'd have to have killed him, which we did not.
We killed that deck wizard and that raging dude, the little dwarf.
1, deck wizards are nothing but lies.
Lightning dwarf.
2, lightning dude, it's hard to tell. He seems like muscle,
Yeah.
So perhaps he did not know which. 3,
He sure hit
again,
pretty hard.
cannot bring them back in a way that we can talk to them.
Guy. Oh yeah, that's
We
right.
need a cleric for that. And we left the only cleric we knew on the other side of the bay. So unless you want to go find a new cleric and somehow pay them to talk to a dead body, which I don't know if it would work at this point. I am a little fuzzy on how that works. Also, we don't have the dead body, which means there are a lot of problems with that plan. Not that I do not like where your head is, but just not right now.
We don't,
Okay.
we don't need
Now,
another
if
dead
they
body
come
right
after
now.
us, very different story.
Well, we didn't even go after them. We were just after some fruit. We were being friendly.
We
when
were in
entered
fact
that
just
warehouse,
looking
if I
for
remember
Tiernan Karst. So, and we were very upfront with this.
correctly. Yeah, they attacked us.
I
Henrik
just
and
said we
Thomas.
were looking for work.
Yeah.
Who,
Yeah, we never
who
mentioned the
attacks?
West, though.
What kind of town is this that you're like, I'm looking for work? Fuck
Die.
you. Die.
Have you not had this happen before? This has happened to me like 3rd time.
No.
Well, it just goes to show, like, we should probably watch our
This
backs
is why
while
I
we're
got
walking around
very
town.
selective of what crews I joined. I made some mistakes early on in my sailing career.
We've all been there.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so you guys are aware of the potential blowback from what happened on the docks, and you've sort of identified that you're going to sort of watch your backs a little bit. So Theo had asked about access to the Royal Athenaeum with some ideas about what you might want to do there that we can totally dive into. I'm just wondering, were there other things that other people in the group wanted to, assuming that you're going to take advantage of this downtime, if you will, what we can do is we can play through some of it a little bit, not super deep unless we want to, we can, but we can sort of accomplish some of the things that you would want to accomplish in a bit of downtime while you wait for the sale of your goods.
Yeah.
For example, I know, Rhunar, you had identified that you were looking to do some training while you're in town here, with the idea of transitioning to a new subclass for your fighter.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah, Eye of the Tiger.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know if we can use. Will we get in trouble if we use that music? Probably.
Only if we're monetizing.
Not if it's us singing it, because that's
fair
us.
use. All right. Well, I don't even
That's
know
fair
any of that
use.
stuff. We need a lawyer. If there are any lawyers watching right now, put it in the chat. We need to know.
Sing happy
You gotta
birthday.
stay up on
Sing
that
happy
stuff.
birthday. See what happens.
No, don't. Hey, so that's one thing that, like, for example, Rhunar, if that's something you want to do, we can make that happen. Irin,
Yeah.
was there anything that you just broadly that you were interested in doing?
Yeah, I would be interested in tracking down, like doing some investigation, looking for some more leads about the Griffin Wing or Captain, whatever his name is that I have written down somewhere, like 6 pages up in my notes.
Solana.
Solana, yes, thank you. AKA
We're close.
where my brother is somewhere, maybe.
Okay. So maybe some investigation on Khuda.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Byron? Was there anything that you might want to look into?
So I did want to at least tag along with Theo if he does go to the Royal Athenaeum, and either double check their books for references to the Seekers, or along my way look for any potential signs that there are further Seekers in Monmurg.
Okay.
And then,
Just throwing it out there, you could also decode some more of the journal.
yep, I was also gonna mention the journal. And then I also, if I can get away with it, I might go back to the Tarpaulin one night and try and find Filiberto in an alley.
Okay. All right, so
With-
let's do this. I'm going to roll a d4 to see who we're going to start with. Let's see what happens. All right, so Byron, we're going to start with you, sir.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
So okay, you're gonna look for some information on to try to determine if there's a local lodge of the Seekers of the
Yep.
Arcane. Okay.
Yep. I'm not gonna talk to anyone about it, so it's gonna be kind of a difficult investigation for me. But I'm
Okay.
specifically gonna be looking for the crest of the Seeker's sigil.
Okay.
And then referring to any books that I find in the Royal Athenaeum that might mention a shady organization.
Sure.
Monmurg.
Okay, so
Maybe I'll talk about it. I don't know.
okay, so here's what we'll do is it's gonna cost you some time, obviously. So the next couple days you're gonna be doing this this during your downtime. It's gonna cost you some resources.
Okay.
So it's gonna about 50 gold, give or take, and this includes things for like bribing people or maybe buying a couple of rounds to have, to loosen up some lips, to maybe get some information from people, other random expenses. And I'm pulling this out of Xanthar's Guide to Everything Downtime Rules.
Okay.
And then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to make 3 rolls for me. You know what? I'm going to pop over to... Let's go over here so we can see the rolls. I'd like you to make 3 rolls for me. I'd like you to make a insight check, a wisdom insight. So go ahead and do that. Nice. A intelligence investigation. Okay. And a charisma persuasion check. Okay. So let's see, that is 29, 33. Okay. So you spend some time essentially talking to people, walking around, looking for the symbol, right? The 8-pointed star of the Seekers of the Arcane. Given some prior knowledge that you have about the types of businesses that are oftentimes associated with this organization that you're a part of, this very secretive organization, you are able to sort of focus your investigation, although it's really difficult, especially since you're in like a new environment, a new city, to make really good contacts. But you do gain some information as a result of this. Again, the persuasion that you use, the investigation, and then the high insight roll is really what pays off the most. But what you identify is that Monmurg is a nexus for adventurers of all sorts, right? There are thrill seekers, do-gooders, fortune hunters, and those who are after more nefarious pursuits. A lot of people that are traveling on the Azure Sea will stop into Monmurg to resupply before heading out on whatever the next leg of their journey might be. Many of these people, these ships, and they'll stop here to resupply, but then also to get charts and maps and get intel on navigational questions that they might have. You also know that given that Monmurg is the capital is a capital city of the Hold of the Sea Princes, that there's a lot of strange things that pass through Monmurg. It seems like a great place for a Seeker's Lodge to be located because of the fact that there are many riches that flow through this city, especially right now. The economy here is booming. And there are a lot of different types of rumors as well that float around. Some of those rumors you pick up on, you already know there's been some grisly murders in the Docks District. That's no big deal. But you hear a little bit higher level rumors about some political things, some turmoil between the Prince John II, and the Commodore of Jetsam. So the Commodore is described to you in a conversation at the bar as a corrupt pig with no allegiance to the Hold. And you hear just some rumblings about a potential insurrection that might be brewing between the Commodore and the Prince, based on some views that the Prince has on the slave trade. You don't get a ton of information about that specifically, but you do gain a little bit of information if there's political turmoil. You also, as you're walking around, specifically the Merchant's Ward, you identify a handful of specialty shops, and many of them have books, manuals on magic and other things that are of interest to you, regional lore, cartography, etc. And so you spend some time browsing through these shops and looking for information, and you eventually come to what people have identified as sort of the best shop in town, which is called Klovak's Emporium. And from the description that you get, you haven't been there yet, but from the description that you get, it's run by a son of a bitch gnome named Ebenezer Klovak. But he knows his stuff. So that's the main bit of information with those roles that you gain. So ruminate on that for a little bit. Think about that. And we'll... yeah, go ahead. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, what was the name of it? What was his name one more time?
Ebenezer Klovak with a K. Klovak.
Perfect.
So give that some thought, and we'll come back to you in a little bit. We'll move on to Irin. So fill me in, Irin. What specifically are you interested in?
I mean, I guess for my purposes, the biggest lead I have is the Griffin Wing, the ship. So I might try to, ask some questions around the docks, maybe find a harbor master type person, or a docking clerk, to inquire after the Griffin Wing. I might try.
And remind us, for those of the folks who maybe are watching, who don't know the Griffin Wing, give them a quick synopsis of why that's important to Irin.
So the main reason why Irin is an adventurer as opposed to just a humble blacksmith is that his brother went, who was a merchant who sailed on the Griffin Wing, had been missing for about a year, and we got word, so we lost at sea. So I had the feeling for some reason that he was not lost or he was maybe only lost in a traditional sense as opposed to a more permanent sense. So I went looking for him, and that is the ship I knew that he was on. And our escapades have led us to the fact that that ship ties in with some of Byron's stuff, but that's more stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So ultimately, he's looking for his brother, who happens to be on that ship
Nice.
at some point.
So you'll talk with port masters and sort of
Yeah, port masters. I might maybe do a little I guess tavern side inquiry. Maybe find a more of a businessman-y tavern that I might up in the merchants district or something, that where I might maybe, because I knew at one point, or at least I was under the assumption that they were a merchant ship, whether or not they're doing this other stuff that we found in these journals, right? So I might try to find out if somebody in one of these places has a contact or knew of this Captain Solana or the Griffin Wing because they bought some shit from him or things like that.
Okay. So yeah, it'll take you some time to do these investigations, and much like Byron, it'll cost you a little bit of gold to be able to leverage the social part of the investigation. So mark off 50 gold. And then what I'd like you to do is to roll 3 checks as well. Very similar, wisdom, insight to start out with.
All right. Wisdom, insight.
Wow, nice. And
Much
then
better than the previous ones.
Yeah, intelligence investigation.
Oh, I'm also proficient in that.
Hell yeah.
Although it's not as impressive.
That's not bad.
But you rolled well.
That's really good. I made up for it. I rolled really good.
And then finally a charisma persuasion.
I'm also proficient in that. I like these rolls. I'm proficient in things.
Nice.
You were built for downtime.
Yeah, I'd say.
I'm literally a business person. I'm a craftsman and a business person.
Yeah.
So that's how I built myself.
Okay, wow. That was nice. Those are really good rolls. So you are able to gather quite a bit of information, actually. You're successful. Awesome. You talk to the right people. You happen in, and it takes you some time. You talk to a lot of people, but you eventually get, they'll tell, you should talk to this guy, or you should go speak with this person. And eventually you make it to people who actually have good information for you. You make it to the right tavern in the merchant's ward. And so you get a bunch of information. So here's what you learn. Your brother, Khuda, and the crew of the Griffin Wing were in port a few months back. The specific dates are fuzzy from the contact that you get this from. It's hard to remember, but they were definitely in Monmurg. I definitely remember the Griffin Wing being in Monmurg. So you get that. Yeah, it was right around the time of that. There was a brawl in the marketplace. Yes, that's why I remember that. There was a fight in the marketplace. The town guard intervened. It was a mess. Some of the vendors had their stalls smashed. It was terrible. So you get that connection, okay? Oh wow. Okay. So then you get. You end up talking to one of the market. You work the market a little bit. Some of the vendors, right? And you talk to them, and you find out that there was a dwarven man who apparently instigated the fight. And he fits Khuda's description. You learn. They try to describe him. A couple different people, you corroborate the description, and it sounds like your brother. Nobody's really sure what the fight was about. And then you also learn from some of your tavern time that the Griffin Wing crew some of them were staying at the Weary Traveler while they were in town. And that was kind of the bar that they spent time at. Now, because you rolled so high, you also gain the following. You continue to ask, you follow up. What was this fight that Khuda was in? Like, what the heck? You know, that doesn't necessarily sound like Khuda. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know Khuda that well. But the fight in the marketplace, you learn, was between a dwarven sailor and a creepy priest. Some proselytizer, some preacher named Tervalsil. And that's spelled Tervalisil.
Sorry, spell that again, please. I was still writing.
Yep.
Creepy priest.
Yep. Tervalsil.
Tervalsisil.
ISIL. Yeah, I don't know why I make these names so grammatically difficult, but Tervalsil.
It's
It's
fantasy,
D&D.
baby.
It's D&D. It's alphabet soup. All right.
Right.
So this guy you find out more. This guy had been, you rolled really well. I didn't expect you to get all of this.
Me either.
Yeah, this guy had been preaching about the end times in the marketplace, and there was a scuffle. Now, the final piece of information that you are able to gather is that one of the crew members, and they're not sure, maybe it was Khuda, who knows, disappeared shortly thereafter and never made it back to the Griffin Wing. And you're not a sailor, but some of the folks relay to you, and maybe even your sailor comrades here on the crew are like, well, you know, that sort of thing happens from time to time. Like, people will just sort of go AWOL and not return to ship for whatever reason. They get into they get a better deal from somebody else. They find a business opportunity they can't pass up. Maybe they find some warm companionship in town. You know, there's a lot of different reasons why people might not show back up to the ship. But you do learn that there was one of the crew, possibly Khuda, that disappeared and did not return to the ship. So let that sort of sink in a little bit.
Okay.
Give that some thought. Do you have any questions right away?
Does anyone know, like, what sect that priest was from?
That part you don't get.
Okay.
Theo would have mentioned to Irin at some point about the weird cult that was mentioned at the Weary Traveler from the nice person he was talking to, though.
How do you spell weary, BTW?
Weary.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so think that over a little bit. We'll come back for additional follow-up. Theo.
Nice.
So I was just going to say, you had indicated that you were hoping that Alesko could provide you with a contact at the Royal Athenaeum. He does. He puts you in contact with one of the archivists, an archivist by the name of Daereth Othronus. She is a high elf wizard, and she is the master archivist of the Royal Athenaeum. You get the sense that Alesko Mariconia is well connected here in Monmurg. Very well connected.
Theo was kind of thinking that as well, so good to have that confirmed. Mm-hmm. In that case, Theo has two things he's going to do before he goes to the archive,
Okay.
which I don't even know how hard that's going to be. But the first thing he's going to do is get a fine quality outfit, like go into the merchant district, find a quality tailor, get something in like the local cut.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing ostentatious, but all made of very high quality fabrics and materials.
Okay.
So it's the type of outfit that doesn't scream "look at me," but it's the type of outfit that, you know, if someone talks to you to 5 minutes, they go, "Huh, you know what you're about." You know, the subtle power, as his stepfather would have said a lot about, you know, doing business dealings.
Okay.
And the second thing he's going to do is see if there's a temple to Hieronius in town, and if he's just going to go by and make an offering on base principle.
Okay, yeah, easy enough. You are able to find, there's multiple options for tailors in the merchant's ward. you're able to get yourself a very nice, not flashy but classy looking outfit that is in the local style, which you've noticed is pretty nice inside the walls of Monmurg. Again, the economy here is apparently booming at this point in its history. The clothing will cost you 12 gold pieces. You do find
I'll take 3.
Okay, very nice. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You do make your way at one point to the temple ward, and there is a temple to Heronius, and you are able to make an offering of your choosing.
Just something, whatever is appropriate. We don't have to get into the specifics. It's as with many things. Theo is one, looking for a god that backs the whole doing good thing, because that's what he signed in for. And 2, he is still totally not at all guilty about the friend he left to die. Not at all. Nope. And
after making the offering, you do you just kind of hear this. Not really hear, but you feel this sense of approval, like in your mind's eye. And
magic sword approved.
Right, yeah. So you do feel like that was well worth the stop and the offering. So eventually you do make your way to the Athenaeum, and you meet with this woman, this elven woman, Daereth Athronus, and she is a tall, high elf woman with very long pointy ears. She has jet black hair that's tied and held behind her on the nape of her neck in a bun. She wears a monocle with a chain that goes down to
Fancy.
Yeah, she's very fancy, and she has this sort of a velvet, almost like a maroon or mauve dress, floor-length dress that has all this filigree. She has a couple of really nice chains, plain but very classy chains, and a couple of necklaces and various jewelry. But she looks very much she's playing the role of the librarian, right? She's very to business. You speak with her, and she is very. She's not mean, but she's very to business, and you get the sense that she's very busy, and you also get the sense that she's doing a favor for you. So you're able to connect with her. What kind of things are you looking to investigate at the Athenaeum?
Theo is looking specifically to investigate knightly orders, possibly related to the history of the Kingdom of Aerdi, and or very famous magical weapons. He also makes it as in fluent Elvish, and tries to be just as direct and to the point as she is, while still being deferential. Just very much a, yes, ma'am, exactly. We're looking for this and this and this wherever you need to point me. Okay.
So first things first, this Royal Athenaeum is grand in the sense of like almost a Library of Alexandria sort of thing, right? They've got artifacts, and it's this voluminous building in the it's in a district of town called the Hill, which actually is on a hill, and that is also where some of the government entities that help operate the city are located. The Athenaeum is at the center of it. You get the sense that the people in this city value knowledge and information and artifacts and that sort of thing. But yes, you're able to connect with her, and she helps you a little bit with some research. So what I'd like you to do, so that we can get an idea of what how well we do here, it'll cost you some money. But it's not quite as much because Alesco sort of pulled some strings. So it's only 10 gold beyond what you spent on the
well, damn,
the suit.
It's only 200 gold.
Yes. And I need you to roll an investigation check. And it's just one roll.
And it's a 9.
Okay. All right. So you spend a considerable amount of time. She helps you find books, and she helps you find scrolls and all kinds of information. But you do get the sense that she's very busy, and so maybe her mind is elsewhere. She's really just trying to get this done, and sort of. But you keep coming back. Like you spend a couple of days. Like you come back the next day, and she's like, "Really? You know." She's helpful, but you get the sense that you've sort of worn out your welcome. But anyhow, you do gain some interesting information. And specifically in the nation of Eridy, and then in the history of that nation, there was an organization that you've already heard rumors about, the Knight Protectors of the Great Kingdom. Once numbering in the hundreds, this order of knights has all but disappeared from history. And the reading that you do identifies how they were known as a very formidable warrior class with an unmatched reputation for courage and honor. They were established by the Overking of Eridy, and they served as a model for all these later orders of knights that came about. And this was you don't get a whole lot of like the detailed history, but you do get the sense that they were this very honorable, good order of knights. They served the great kingdom of Eridy before what you learn a little bit about the Age of Great Sorrow. You hear that term and see that term in the readings. It's thought that the demise of this order was connected somehow to the beginning of the end of Eridy's greatness, which you believe ties back to this idea of whatever this Age of Great Sorrow was.
Age of Great Sours.
Sour beers. So there's also, you also get a reference to the demise of this order having to do with a betrayal from within the order, but no real specifics are cataloged in the materials that you have access to.
Okay. The thing that Theo would follow up after, the welcome is obviously worn out, is one, he'll offer if there's anything I can do to be of service to you or the library at some point. Of course, I am most welcome. And if you have any interest in observing a magical artifact or magic weapon, please let me know. I may be able to discuss. Thank you so much. Because he's not just going to make a sword appear in front of her. That sounds rude.
She sort of nods and kind of looks at you sideways, and I was just thinking to myself, not that I necessarily want to dole out a whole bunch more information, but I'm going to go ahead and say let's get 2 more investigation rolls, because because I gave those guys 3 rolls, I was starting to feel bad that I only gave you 1.
Next one's an 8.
I'm going to have to take away information. I'm going to have to take away knowledge if you don't roll better.
Yep.
Theo gets kicked out of the library.
Just to try it.
No chewing gum.
Oh God! Would he be able to persuade, perhaps, or try to persuade this head librarian that he might be worth more of his time and has more use to try and use that skill instead?
Sure, I'll allow it. Yeah, let's do that.
Well, that's a 16. It's better.
So we had a 9, an 8, and a 16. All right.
This may or may not involve it. No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you are successful in gathering one additional piece of information. You say the right thing at the right time and sort of tickle her ego a little bit, perhaps. And so she helps you a little bit more. And so this is actually it's great that you got the second layer, but here it is. You have some names, right? You've been given some names by Kalistani, your sword.
Correct.
One of those names is Lord Xander Krellis.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, that's a fucking name.
Yeah. And then what was the other name that
Zephram Tan?
Yep, close. Lord Marshal Zephram Tran. Tran.
Yes.
So
he's famous for inventing propulsion system.
Yep. It's like a cart that hangs from a rope. No horses needed. It's great. Invented the tram. That's canon. Okay. So you do some research on these names, right? And there's no mention anywhere of the Lord Xander Krellis. You don't find anything about him in the archives that you're provided. You do learn a little bit about this Lord Marshal Zephram Tran. He was an obscure leader of the Knight Protectors, so the knights that you're investigating. And there really isn't a whole lot of information about his history. But it leads you to a different name and a little bit different thread. You find written in the archives that there was an honorable and noble knight, that he was an honorable and noble knight and loyal to someone named Sir Benedor Monlath. Benedor Monlath, Monlath, who was the knight commander of the order. Tran had taken a leadership underneath Monlath during a time of this internal strife within the order and within the Great Kingdom itself, as it turns out. And he fell... I guess you do get a little bit of information about Tran. He fell at the Siege of Lothan, which happened around 203, 205 Common Year, somewhere in there. So you get a little bit of information about that and the history of the Age of Great Sorrow, which turns out is pretty well documented. And it was the precipitous decline of the prestige of that nation and its leaders, to the point where they were more concerned with self-gratification than they were about the ruling of their domain. And so things started to fall. Nations started to break away from their sphere of influence, and things just deteriorated after that. So you do gain that information. So a little bit more about Lord Marshal Zephram Tran, who turns out, from your previous knowledge from Kalistani, was the original wielder of that sword. Right?
Yes, got that. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so that's what
My
you get.
little history nerd is happy to see all this. Yay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I've only got one more weird thing I might do, but we'll get back to that and kind of move on for the moment, I guess.
All right, let's move on to Rhunar Deg. Captain Deg.
All right.
Hey, you remember to unmute yourself.
Not bad.
Yeah, I did it.
What would you like to do during your downtime?
Well, I guess I'd inquire to Alesco. Maybe he could point me in the right direction of somewhere. Like I could go to find some weapons, military type of training.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's easy enough. He's you get the sense as well that he's super well connected. He puts you in touch with an expert fighter that he knows named Zolani Frith. Spent a lot of time with names over the last week. So it turns out that this Frith is, as a favor to Alesco, is happy to work with you over the next couple of days to impart some of the techniques and maneuvers that he has mastered in his years of service. And so you're able to work with him over the next couple of days. What I'd like you to do is roll 3 checks for me.
Okay.
First one is a strength athletics. Okay. The second one is a wisdom perception.
Nice.
Wow. So 19, a 22, and then the last one is a intelligence investigation. So essentially, you're training with this guy, and it's a combination of your strength and agility, your athleticism, along with your ability to perceive the nuances of these maneuvers that he's trying to teach you. And then the investigation part is really about studying some of the additional teachings that he provides through this that aren't necessarily physical teachings, but more sort of philosophical teachings. And let's see, what'd you roll for that? 11. Okay, so. Just doing some math. Okay. All right, very nice. You rolled exceptionally well. So,
Nice.
a couple of things you pick up on during your training. First of all, you and Zolani spend a considerable amount of time together. It's about 6 days is required for the training that you are interested in. It also costs you a substantial amount of gold, which I think we already talked about. For some reason, I didn't write it down, but I think it was 500 gold.
Yeah.
Does that sound right? I can't remember.
Yes, I think that's right.
Okay.
I can read it.
I think that's correct. Anyways, if it's not, we'll come back to it. But yeah, so 6
Yeah.
days and a significant amount of gold. A couple things you pick up on. He is half elven, which isn't immediately prevalent in your conversations with him, but as you get to know him, you learn more about him. He is a retired member of the Sea Princes. And as the two of you get to talking, and I don't know how much you share with him, but you learn that he fought against the Keeland Empire in the Siege of Westkeep back in 453 Common Year. And you know a little bit about this. You've studied military. You're a military trained man. You've actually served with the Keeland Navy. You know well the pathetic and unfortunate showing of the Keeland Empire at the Siege of Westkeep, whereby King Tavish III himself was slain in battle, a battle that lasted a mere 70 minutes before the Sea Princes declared victory.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was not pretty. It was a slaughter. And so he is very proud of that. And so I don't know how that makes Rhunar feel, given your history as a Keeland naval, or not officer, but a member of the Keeland Navy. I don't know if you want to comment on that.
No, I mean, I think in Rhunnar's eyes, it was like, he's not super loyal to the kingdom. He was more loyal to like his comrades around him. And he wasn't in that battle, right?
No, This would have been
like before his time a little bit.
This would have been before your time, correct?
Yeah. So I'll let him know that, I served. I guess
Okay.
if I get the impression that he wouldn't be like violent towards me.
Well, he certainly asks you your history to try to get an idea
Yeah.
of like a baseline. What do you know? He tests you. What do you know? Like, what's your training? He maybe gives you, occasionally he'll put a little remark in there about, I can see why you're here training with me, given your, the training, the mediocre training you received from Keeland. And, but it's not in a, he's not like angry or vindictive about it. It's more of like kind of like jousting with you a little bit verbally,
Right.
as well as physically. You do manage to complete the training in the 6 days. You do quite well, actually. You do very well, and he's impressed with your skill based on the roles that you came up with. Over the course of the training, the 6 days, you do get a little bit of the rumor mill from him, because he sort of lets down his guard eventually, based on sort of the roles that you came up with. And so you learn a couple things. You also learn about this Commodore of Jetsam, who is like kind of shady, and there might be some sort of a sedition sort of fomenting on Jetsam Island. You learn about, or there's a rumor that Prince John II, he has a wife who's about to give birth, but there's a rumor that the child is not his. You also hear about something that you catch sort of offhand remark about how the prince is potentially being swayed by delegates from a place called the Kingdom of Shar. And they're sort of trying to encourage him to take a more expansionist view of the nation and to take conquest to other parts of the Azure coastline. And then finally, the one that probably catches your attention the most. I didn't think you were going to roll this high.
I'm glad you have such faith in us, Dave.
Well, yeah, I do have faith. I had faith that you would get.
Byron.
I had faith that you would get some of this information, and
That's
then you'd
fair.
get the rest of it later.
We do generally roll pretty mediocrely in some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did write it down in case you did roll, so I guess on some level, I had hope for you,
Okay.
But I thought maybe you'd have to pick it up later. Anyhow, the last piece of information that you get, Rhunar, and this is, he even admits, like, this is what I've heard, I don't know. Apparently there's a mountain of gold that's stashed away somewhere beneath the city. Some sort of a royal treasure hoard for the pirate prince. And that's all he really mentions about it. Like, man, wouldn't it be great to find that treasure hoard? I've thought about it many, many times, what I'd do with all that loot. And then he kind of talks about, how he would spend all that money.
Wow, interesting.
So you do succeed over the course of the 6 days in modifying your training so that you can now, instead of being a champion fighter, you are now a Battlemaster fighter. So congratulations.
Dun, 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 dun.
Woo! Battlemaster. Let's give Andy a round of applause. We've used the Tasha's rules for transitioning.
All right. Stoked.
Is there anything that you want to ask right away, or if not, we'll swing back to the other guys in sequence?
No, I'm good for now.
Okay.
Of
Byron.
Zolani specifically, you mean?
What's that?
To Zolani specifically, you mean?
Yes. Yep. About the training.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I'm good for now.
All right. So, Byron, let's go back to you. You've learned this information. Is there anything you want to do with it?
Well, I definitely want to. I want to check out Klavok's Emporium for sure.
Okay.
And be son of a bitch gnome named Ebenezer.
All right. That sounds good. Let's do this. Let's take a 15-minute break, and then we will come back and we'll meet this son of a bitch gnome. How does that sound?
Son of a...
Sounds bloody exciting.
All right. Hey, thanks for watching, people. Hang tight. We'll be back in about
Great.
15. All right, we're back, everybody. If you're still out there watching, thank you so much. Okay, guys. So we are going to focus a little bit on a follow-up with Byron here real quick. So, Byron, you wanted to do what?
All right. So I definitely wanted to check out Clavoc's Emporium.
Right, meow?
Listen here, meow.
You know, depending. Well,
Right,
here's a
meow.
question, and this was out of character. How much time would I have to in this next bit?
Yeah,
'Cause depending on-
you
I
would have
might do
time.
something.
This could be part of your downtime for sure. You could follow up. You can follow up on a lead that you gained for sure.
Okay, so yeah, I'll definitely check out Clavoc's Emporium.
Okay.
And as long as it doesn't dig into too much time, I also will try to stake out the Tarpaulin, catch Filiberto, and
You might have to choose
a-
between the one or the other based on time.
okay.
Don't forget the journal.
It's like a voice.
It's a ghost
in dreams.
in your
What
ear.
the hell was that?
I'm gonna go to
Okay,
Clavoc's.
do what you want. Do what you want.
You know, I can do the journal as much as I want later. I'm
Okay.
gonna go to Clavoc's Emporium.
All right. So you find yourself in front of an unassuming shop, partially opaque windows that obscure the interior from the street. There's a sign above the front entrance to the tidy shop that reads Clavoc's Emporium. And engraved on the sign is a symbol of a surveyor's spyglass crossed with a scroll. As you open the door, you hear the sound of whistling. That seems to come from behind a set of shelves on the left. Or this way at left, I don't know. Whatever side's left.
Stage left. Stage left.
Stage
You
left.
look to the left, and the whistling stops. And then all of a sudden it starts up again, but now it's on the right.
Oh. Hello?
It stops again, and now it's coming from directly in front of you.
I'll pull my hood up and attempt to blend into the shadows.
All right, go ahead and roll a stealth check for me.
that should be an advantage because I said I pulled my hood up.
So what is it?
18.
Okay, not bad, not bad.
18.
So you pull your hood up and you sort of look around and you see the shelves. There's shelves all over the place. It's a pretty large room actually, and you see all manner of curiosities on these shelves. On one shelf you see large jars that are filled with what appear to be the bodies of small animals, snakes, lizards, rat-like creatures, large beetle-looking things with giant pincers, floating in some sort of a solution. On another shelf, you see cogs and gears that are made of metal and wood, and they're all organized very neatly into sizes in little bins. On another shelf, you see racks of what appear to be rainbow-colored potions. And you gaze about. I mean, it's a little overwhelming, just the sheer amount of stuff in here, but it's all very well organized. The place is spotless clean, and there is a lot of product stuffed into this well organized establishment. All of a sudden, you hear this right in front of you, and you look down, and you see standing before you, holding what appears to be a stepladder, a small gnomish man. He's clad in an apron. He's got a tool belt on, and he stares back at you expectantly. He's got this shock of white hair on his head that's partially obscured by these large glass goggles that magnify the size of his eyeballs. So his eyeballs are like super huge as he's looking up at you. And the goggles kind of rest on this big, red, bulbous nose. Well, there's no loitering in my shop-o, boyo. What can I do for you?
You know, I'm seeking objects of the arcane.
Anything specific that you're looking for? We got a lot in here.
Just a browsing. You know.
Okay, well, help yourself. We got potions. We got, what do you? Anything in particular you're looking for? Seems like you might be looking for something specific. I got a feel from you.
You know, yeah. You know, I am looking for something specific. Maybe a door to another room that you might have.
Excuse me?
If you don't understand, I don't know how to explain it to you. I see all these beautiful potions, this wide array, and I see all of these really intricate devices. And wow, what a phenomenal shop! I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Thank you very much. We work hard around here to provide the best curiosities that you can find in Monmurg. So you're looking for a door. You know, if you're looking for a door, you might want to go down to the Carpenters Guild. They got all kinds of doors and what?
That I'm more so. Never mind. It was a metaphor.
Sure. I gotcha. You're looking for something to take you sort of to the doors of perception. Yeah, I got something for that.
Go on.
Right this way. And he kind of he guides you over to the potion shelf. And he says, well, I got all kinds of things here now. If you're looking for something to take your mind off of things, relax a little bit, get some rest, I got that. You're looking for something to sort of expand your perception, expand your paradigm? I got something for that, too. It's pretty potent, though.
What about something that I could on so that I could get anything they had in their mind out of their mouth?
Ooh. You want to, like, read people's minds and their thoughts, huh? Well,
I mean, why not?
Let me see here. And he starts looking at the labels. Well, we got the love tonic, potion of unclouded thought, beard grow. Well, shoot. Healing potions. I got plenty of those. Potion of gaseous.
I definitely want a few of those, too.
Oh? Well, how many will you take? Let's see.
How many healing potions do you have?
Let me
how
just
much are they each?
let me just count them up here. Oh, well, it looks like I've got 3 in stock. They're there's 2 well, I've got the sort of the standard run-of-the-mill healing potion. Those are 50 gold pieces each. And then I got what you'd consider a greater healing potion. I've got 4 of those in stock, it looks like.
And how much are those?
Those are just a paltry 100 gold pieces. I gotta raise my prices.
Goodness. I'll take all 4 of your greater ones. I'll take all
Sure.
3 of your regular ones.
You know what? That's great.
Do you have any maps of the area to the south of here, south of Monmurg?
Yeah, I got all kinds.
Maybe, are you familiar with the Amadeo Peninsula?
Well, never been there myself, but I certainly got some charts. Here, come on over. Let's take a look.
That'd be great.
So he takes you over the course of the next 20 to 30 minutes, and he shows you. He's got these racks, these drawers that pull out, and they're these large flat trays that have all kinds of maps on them. And he's sorting through them, and he has to get out a ladder and get up on another one that's about eye level for you, but he's a short little buddy. And he pulls out one, and he let's see here. I'll see if I can give you guys a quick. I'll give you a quick showing of what it looks like here. Looks like this. So it is labeled as the Hook Peninsula, and he's like, "This is probably the best I can do for the Amadeo. This is the tip of the hook, as they say." Shows you a little bit about the geography of the area. You can see Port Tolly here. There's a couple of forts. Now I can't vouch for the accuracy of this here chart necessarily. These forts and whatnot. I've never been there, but this is about as close as I can get for you.
How much are you looking for this map specifically?
Oh, just 20 gold.
I'm gonna attempt to persuade him to bring it down to like 10 because he's not even sure of the accuracy of it.
Roll a persuasion check. You know what? For you, since you're making such a big purchase of all these potions and whatnot, sure, I'll knock it down to 18 gold. Just for you, though. Don't tell anybody I did that.
18? Yeah, I can't say no. I'm taking it.
All right. So you got yourself a map. You taking all 3 of the healing potions in the 4 greater?
Yeah, I took them all, and I already marked them off my sheet. I paid mostly in silver. Hope he's not upset.
No, that's fine. So it's a total of 568 gold.
Wait, 500.
568 gold total. If you want all of them.
Shoot, it was 100. It was 100 gold per
For the greater. Yep.
For some reason, I thought it was 100. So I'd need 500 silver for a single one of those, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can't afford all of them.
We could always come back as a crew. Just
Yeah.
throwing it out there.
I'll get one of the greater ones.
Okay,
And
so
all
that's
3 of the
100.
smaller ones.
Okay, so that's let's see, that's 150, 100, that's 250 plus the 18, so that's 268 gold.
Yep, and
Okay.
that's what I marked off. Perfect.
Okay, there you go.
So
Anything else I can help you with then, friend? Where you
this
seem
is out of character.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there, and I'm assuming there is, but I'm unsure what I should say even. Is there something that like seekers use or say to each other to identify fellow seekers?
Let me ask you this:
And if
Are
so, I would say that
are
to
you an initiate of the Seekers, or are you a full member of the Seekers?
I would say I'm a full member.
Okay, so you do have on you a ring, because once you graduate from initiate to full membership, you are given a ring, and that ring is very subtle, but it has an 8-pointed star on it.
Okay.
In terms of a phrase or anything, there's no real code word or anything like that. Roll a history check for me. Okay. Yep. So that's you've got that. So
Okay.
let's pause there. Think about what your next step is, and let's move over to Irin. Irin, was there anything that you wanted to follow up on in terms of the information that you and this would be stuff that you'd be able to follow up on in the 6 days, right? So it's not like going on a full quest or anything, but just information gathering or interactions that you'd want to have.
Adventure. An adventure. Yeah, I would probably have mentioned some of this to the guys at some point. In order to tease out
Let's do that right now.
whatever Theo was trying to say. I mean, the metagaming pigeon.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's for a moment. Let's use our imaginations to put ourselves at the end of the night of one of these 6 days. You're back at this apartment, which is pretty comfortable
with my words.
And then you guys can and Rhunar is at this point is like kind of he's sore. You know, he's not beaten and bloodied, but he's sore from his training. This is probably like day 3 or 4, and you know.
He looks like he just got through a session with The Rock.
Exactly.
Like,
Theo's, he's tired. He's been studying at the Athenaeum and
has just gotten out of his fancy clothes. It's like,
yeah,
oh, thank God.
Out of my work clothes. And then Byron is, he comes back maybe with a little bit of booze on his breath after trying to tease information out of one of the bar patrons. And so go ahead. Why don't we have that conversation?
Yeah. I figure we probably. We can skip over like the normal pleasantries, or we'll be here all night. That we would normally have. We can assume that we have talked about. Oh,
yes.
How's your day? How's your stuff been going?
Yeah. We can just get to the point of what Irin would want to. Yep.
Yeah. So the Griffin Wing. I have tracked down some information on it. I've been doing a lot of digging, asking around. Dockmaster, I talked to, went around some like merchant bars, up in the nicer end of town. Wow, this place is a shithole.
My kind of shithole.
Oh man,
there's a lot going on here.
A lot. It's oh boy. But yeah, long story short, a few months back, the Griffin Wing was here. That's like numerous accounts that I got that it was here. Not necessarily sure like when or how long ago it was here, but it was here. There was a big sort of brawl that happened at some point. That may have involved a sailor from that ship who may or may not have been my brother. It was a dwarf, regardless.
There are not many dwarven sailors. I'm just going to toss that out there.
Yeah. It was some kind of priest. There was like a creepy end times proselytizing priest that he got into it with in the marketplace.
Wait, in the marketplace, in the down here near the docks ward?
Dave?
Could it have been
Was it that marketplace?
No, it would have been the marketplace more inside the walls.
Okay.
Yep, there's a whole market section there. Yep.
Up in the spring market, whatever the fuck they call it.
That is interesting. You remember when I was talking to the nice girl at the Weary Traveler?
Yeah, I remember that.
She mentioned her bunch of brothers was gotten involved in some sort of cult that sounded kind of crazy and maybe about the
Yeah.
end times.
Yeah, those cultists.
This
That may be going around.
this priest's name was Tervalisil. Tervalisil.
Oh yes, Tervasil. I take that 2 times a day to deal with some of my outbreaks. But that's not the
Don't you
point.
put that on your feet? Isn't that something you put on your feet?
No, that's Ephron Tran.
Okay. Wow.
These are
So
terrible.
Yeah, we are. Hey, I'll get to that. My point later. The important part is, I mean,
my God.
so he got in a fight with a crazy priest.
Yeah. And
did you hear anything about where the Griffin Wing was headed?
I didn't. I
When it
wasn't able to. I didn't. The only other thing that so they were staying at the Weary Traveler. The crew was, and somebody did not make it back to the wing, and has disappeared.
Like the same day or the day after that your brother got into a fight with a crazy cult priest?
Unsubstantiated. Uncertain. I don't know. But however long it was, I would have to imagine that it was. They probably didn't stay in town too much longer after somebody got into a big old brawl.
No, they would not.
So, yeah, that's a thing.
I think you might want to go to the Weary Traveler and ask a few questions. Maybe
What was
more than
that?
a few.
What was that girl's name?
I have no idea. I didn't ask.
What did she look like?
Oh, she looks like, and Theo just rattles it off because the player also never really asked for a detailed description of her.
Sure. Yeah, you're able to give a description.
Girl at the Weary Traveler.
However, it sounds like a
with
lot of
the
other women that you've seen around town.
Cult brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not from like a strict dwarf place.
Sure.
You know,
Iron
my
Gate.
my cult is strictly about intermingling.
Ooh,
So
fancy.
not necessarily like that, but you know,
Wasn't implying
I'm not gonna-
anything.
somebody was. Somebody said, "Ooh, ooh."
Move along.
Rhunar
Move
did.
along.
Anyway, yeah. Interesting. Yeah,
No, that's great
I'll head up
news.
there.
That's the most we've heard about the Griffin Wing yet, right?
And-
Yes.
Realistically, I think that's the only thing we've heard about the Griffin Ring outside of that book.
We should.
That it was
yeah,
headed for Narissa.
Other than what's his name, the fisher guy, merchant
Solmar?
guy,
Saltmarsh?
Saltmarsh.
Anders Bloody Soulmore.
Well, it
He
seemed
didn't.
like
He didn't really
yeah.
know Jack.
yeah, it seemed like everybody in Saltmarsh was just gonna like look into it for us. They didn't have too many answers.
They wanted us to take care of all their problems for them.
I feel like that
Yeah,
is
we
a
should-
summation of Saltmarsh.
We should. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I guess
Pretty much.
we should definitely look into trying to find out where they went from. Like, if somebody knows their next port they went to.
Then we
Yeah,
should get some
gotta-
maps to that port.
I got a few more days of downtime. I'll get on that.
But then there's this issue of the sailor that disappeared.
We might want to go looking for him because even if he's not our man, he may know our man.
Well, I mean,
It's a lead regardless.
yeah,
And if our history is like anything else, it will lead us to a warehouse. We'll get attacked and have to kill them all.
That's fair.
cult.
That's our MO.
Hey, and just for the record, if
What
there's a
is-
crazy cult, I'll put that down. I don't care for crazy cults.
I mean, we got this thing. We didn't burn that place down.
We were very restrained.
We left some things there for them.
Out of
Thought about it
character.
too, but
Out of character, I did ask how the place was lit, and I was considering knocking out candles.
I knew that right away. I knew when you asked that. I was like, oh, he's going to do the old
Chad's gonna start
Irin,
it on fire.
Irin kicks the candle and the
Irin.
place starts on fire again. Just a spoiler alert, that happened a while back in Saltmarsh. So, yeah.
In another warehouse.
Session
Where
20
we
of
got
season 2.
into it.
At
Yeah.
another time.
Yeah.
Did you just
Anyhow.
pull that off the top of your head, Dave?
Yeah. Session 20, season 2.
Nice.
He is our series Bible.
The warehouse fight.
And if you believe that,
Oh, so it was a lie.
no, I don't know. I just made that up.
Oh,
It did happen in season 2, though. I know that.
It did.
I
Yeah,
could probably find it here somewhere.
All right.
I think we're good.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
yeah.
So
All
you
right.
relay this information to the group, so they're all kind of up to speed on what you've discovered.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I've
Um,
got some extra information from Theo now too.
mhm.
So yeah, I'll probably. Yeah, I mean, the Weary Traveler sounds to be like a good, as good a place as any, for me to start next.
Okay. All right. So
Um,
let's put a pause button on that for the moment. And Theo, was there any follow up that you wanted to do after your discoveries during the downtime?
The one thing he wanted to do before he left was talk to the librarian. Are they like doing this research at like a public desk, or do they have like series of antechambers where they make you do research or anything like that? What's the kind
Great
of
question.
situation?
So the Athenaeum does not have public access. It is a closed facility that you have to be invited, or you have to be somehow connected to be able to utilize the archives.
Fair enough. But the actual work and reading, was it being done in like a large room with a bunch of tables, or in like
Yes,
they put
yes.
you in a room? Okay.
Yep.
In which case, like, one of the last things he wants to do is like, I just, for the reason I am asking all of this is because of a very specific magical item. Would you
Yes.
mind if I show it to you just to see if you understand anything about it?
Of course. Please.
And Theo just kind of sets his hands on the table and is like, just a minute, this looks a little strange. And then he stops and shakes his head and goes, and this just all sounds terrible. Anyway, and then summons the sword flat on the table.
Well, that's a surprise. And she looks at the sword in your hands. These
Doesn't sound
engravings
surprised.
these engravings here are strange. They don't. Oh, they seem almost elvish, but might take some time to decipher what they mean. Do you have any inkling of the origin of these glyphs?
I do not. I believe they are magical formula, in which case they might perhaps be elven magical formula.
I
Unfortunately,
can make out some of the words. This right here, and she'll sort of like point out, and she says, brotherhood or brothers, protection. This is a very old script. Darkness. This is darkness. This is very strange. Where did you come by this strange magical weapon?
would you believe the middle of the ocean?
Yes, stranger things have come from the ocean. But yes, I do. This is very peculiar indeed.
Well, I wanted to thank you for your time and at least show you what all the fuss was about. I thought perhaps there would at least be a scholarly interest to you.
Do you think this is connected to what you've been researching? I mean, I've been with you and taken note of your interests.
I would say without a shadow of a doubt, yes.
Well, this brotherhood could perhaps speak to the order that you've been looking at, the Knight Protectors, yes.
That's
The
my
protection could perhaps be an identification of the duty or the oath, perhaps, of the purpose. Yes.
Jinx.
Darkness, though, troubling. I guess.
That makes
given
me
the-
wonder if. Go
yes?
ahead.
No,
No,
please.
My thought was perhaps seeing as this may have been involved in the great sorrow of the kingdom, perhaps that is a thing that was added towards the end of its most recent. Perhaps it's a form of living history and also a magical artifact at the same time as a sword. There are many wonders in the world, and I have not seen many.
This certainly is one of them. Tell me, are there any other miraculous properties of this particular item, besides it being able to apparate and disappear on command?
Well, it has taught me how to do, and he just kind of gestures with a hand and does a simple prestidigitation, so like a poof of purple smoke that moves along the wind.
Interesting. It has bestowed upon you additional abilities and powers. This is a powerful relic. To have come across it with no prior knowledge of its origins is strange to me. Yes?
Yes.
An item like this, from my studies, is often given to the noblest of warriors that have proven themselves in the fight for good.
And Theo just literally makes that face, clearly the I don't think I'm that.
Well, it is yours now. For better or for worse. I will do some investigation, if you wouldn't mind. And so she asks if she can copy down the script.
Please.
And so she takes some time during one of your visits to do that, and she indicates that she's interested in perhaps pursuing some additional investigation. You've piqued her interest.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
And Theo is very happy to go along with that.
Okay, cool. Great. All right, Rhunar, was there any follow-up that you had? I'm just trying to tie up loose ends on this stuff.
I'm gonna just ask Zolani, like during some like downtime between training sessions and stuff like that, if he'd ever, if he knows anything about the Griffin Wing, the boat that was in port, like if he knew anybody there.
Okay. Let me roll
A few months ago.
Let me make a roll. Let's see. What does he know? He's never heard of it.
Okay.
Yep. I rolled a 7.
Has he heard anything about this cult in town?
He does. He has heard. Of course, he does not spend much time in the Docks District, but he has heard that there is a murder afoot, and that there have been a series of grisly murders that have taken place that have gone unsolved. And he makes, kind of a comment about you get the sense that he's a little bit of an elitist. He
Okay.
makes a comment about well, it's the Docks District and the Void. I'm not unless that sort of thing happens up here and within the walls, I'm not too concerned about it.
Right.
Survival of the fittest and whatnot, that kind of thing. So
I'm just gonna ask him, just like for future, that I might not be back in Monmurg. I don't know how long we're gonna stay, and there's a chance once we leave, we might not be back for a long while. Would he have any, like, books or kind of like tomes that describe some of the fighting styles that we've gone over that I could possibly use and study
A
while I'm
manual
away.
of arms, as it were.
Yeah.
Roll a persuasion check.
15.
Nice.
Indeed, I do. In fact, I've written a manual myself. And he goes into the bookshelf and he pulls out a book, and it's written. You can see on the cover it's him, in all of his regalia, looking tough, and it's like a how-to. And he says, it's on the house, and he hands you the book.
Oh,
and gives it
wow,
to you.
Thank you. Just out of character, I was just throwing that out there in case I want to learn some maneuvers later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Manu has.
Yep.
I might have a source where if I'm out in the middle of a jungle or something, I can.
Yeah, absolutely. You now have a how to do Battlemaster by Zolani Frith.
And they are a real thing that did historically exist. You can't see it, but one of the books behind me is actually a text like that from a German guy. So
Nice.
you can now learn the Master Strikes.
I added it to my item list.
Yep. And he says, just do me a favor and make sure you mention my name around a bit.
All right, I'll do that. I appreciate everything you've done here. This is great.
Fantastic.
I feel like I've learned
Deg.
so much.
He gives you the forearm shake, the bro shake, and you guys part ways. But you leave, with a sense of accomplishment, and it was time well spent for sure. All right, cool. So Byron, I think for the moment, let's tie up any loose ends that you have, and then we'll figure out what the plan is for the next phase of the adventure.
Which may involve actual tying things up.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it usually does.
So
It's Byron.
I'm gonna assume I'm still at
Clovox.
where's mine? Clavox. Thank you.
Yep. Yep.
As I'm, after I pay for everything, I'm actually gonna reach into my pocket. I'm gonna put on that the sigil of the Seekers basically ring.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have it so that the sun, the star part of it is on the inside of my palm,
Okay.
and I'm just gonna reach out my hand to shake this gnome's hand, and in an attempt for him to see it. I want him to see it when we shake hands.
Okay. So you
and if he decides to
intentionally,
say, cool,
sure.
I'll intentionally share it with him.
He reaches out to shake your hand, and he looks down and looks at your hand, and then he kind of looks up at you, and he goes, well. Isn't that interesting? That ring. Where did you come by
yeah.
it?
A dear friend of mine, Kyrathi. Have you heard the name? He's based in Grad Sul. He's a dear friend of mine.
I forgot my accent. Well, where did you come by that ring?
A fellow chucker, eh?
Hey! Well, Kyrathi. I can't say that I have, but I'm familiar with this symbol.
Oh, interesting. So you just totally missed what I said earlier about my seeking objects of the arcane.
Well, I certainly heard it, but I'm not one to allude to any sort of affiliation, if you will.
So
However,
you're not a.
well, I'm aware, shall we say. Tell me, where do you lodge?
Well, I was raised in Grad Sul. Well, not raised there, but I'm based in Grad Sul myself. I was sent to Saltmarsh to investigate an issue with Dralian, Albrecht Dralian, a fellow member of my order. And well, my journey takes me south.
Interesting. 1 second, please. And he walks over to the front door and locks it. And he turns the sign around, closed, right? And he walks back over and says, "Pleasure to meet you. My name is Ebenezer Klovak. I am a long-time member of the Order, the Seekers of the Arcane.
Very good.
We don't have a formal lodge here in this particular city, but we are active. We haven't had anyone in from Gradzul in quite some time."
You know, I wasn't even sure I was going to be stopping here on my journey south, but it appears. Well, my journey's taking me further south in an attempt to do more research on the Amadeo Peninsula.
Following in the tracks of Matreus, are you?
Yes, Tiberius Matreus. Actually have part of his map.
Oh,
yes,
very
that-
interesting.
Well, do you happen to...
You have it with you?
No, it's not with me. It's on our ship.
Oh. Tell me, how did you come by this? My understanding is that it was lost and scattered to the far corners of the Flanis.
Dave, I'm gonna... Do I notice... Does he have a ring on as well?
Roll a perception check. He does not have any rings on.
Okay. You know, most of the map is lost, I'll say.
But to have
And what I have,
come upon a piece of it even is quite remarkable. I would love to see it sometime, perhaps study it and provide some insight if possible.
that would be really helpful.
Of course,
Perhaps
the
you could
map
come to-
fragment itself is worthless without the rest of them.
Oh, I know. I mean, I can't. I look at it. I'm like, this looks like a. I mean, it's mostly ocean. Let's be honest.
Funny.
But the thing is, I'm here. I have a specific goal while I'm here. When I was back in grad school, I had access to all these books. I had access to all these readings. And as you're aware, there's a certain amount of magical prowess that we're expected to have. And granted, they made me a full-fledged member. I have no skill whatsoever in the arcane. And I was hoping that maybe you would have more books that I could look at, study, in my short time that I'm going to be in Monmurg before I continue my journey south. And if you do have some books I can study, I don't have a lot of money. I can give you like maybe 50, 75 gold or so. If you just let me study them here in your establishment, I won't even leave with them or anything. And maybe I can glean some more secrets.
Roll persuasion check. Nice. He is receptive to your request, and he takes you, for the sake of sort of narrative time, he takes you into a back room, which has a secret door that leads into an additional room, right? It's smaller, but you get the sense, you're starting to get this seeker vibe, right? So there is a large map on the wall of the Flanis, one of the most detailed maps you've seen, harkens back to maps that you've also seen at the Gradzul Lodge. So that's one of sort of the hallmarks of the lodges, is that they have these well these high level cartographic maps. There we go. And most lodges have like a chamber of annals and maps. So this guy doesn't really have that. Again, it's not a formal seeker lodge, as he alluded to, but he does have an impressive map. He has a rack of journals that you can see right away that look very familiar to you, because all the seekers keep journals, including yourself. Yep. And it just looks like a research room, essentially, that's sort of in this back, almost like a secret hallway. It's not very big at all. But he does pull down a book, and he says, from one seeker to another, I'd be more than willing to part with this book. I assume you'll be back through Monmurg at some point, and I would be happy to help you. I only ask that you, as required of you as a seeker, transcribe your journal, add it to the archives here, so that it can be studied by other visitors from the lodge. And this is something that is common in your order, where seekers will update the holdings of the lodge as a whole with the information that they've gathered over time in their journals. And so it's a very the other thing that you also know as a seeker is that there's usually some sort of a monetary offering to help the lodge in its financial well-being or its financial stability. So those are a couple of things that you know as a seeker. And that's sort of what he's requesting.
Ebenezer, I would be remiss to deny you these offerings. And in fact, as a show of good faith, and I'll reach into my pocket and I'll take out the magical compass thing. Then I'll hand it to him and I'll say,
"Oh, well, look at
sir,
this."
My crew's going to be pissed that I'm giving this to you, but I can already tell that you've been more helpful to me than they ever have. No, I'm just kidding. They're great.
Wow.
I'll laugh.
He laughs with you.
I don't mean that, Theo. Don't look at me like that. Jesus.
Oh, boy. Don't piss off the necromancer.
That's right.
So I'll hand over the compass. The compass is an offering of a magical artifact of guidance, and I'll tell him what it does too. So you can put soil in it. It still contains the soil outside of the Dreadwood near Brule. But if you want to just tap that out, you can put anything you want in there, and you can find it again later.
Ah, well, this is a wonderful tool and much appreciated.
I will
Very
return. I will return in 2 days' time. Bring you a copy of my journal to add to your collection.
Very good.
And I really am thankful for this counsel and this book that you've given me. I will return it if I return to Monmurg, or when I return to Monmurg.
Please do. It's not very often that I see another member of the Seekers. There are a few in town, of course, that I can't tell you about, but someone from out of town is always very interesting. So thank you.
Of course. I must get back to my ship. My crew is waiting for me.
So you make niceties and end up leaving. You give him the compass. You take the book, which gives you it's a book of magic practice. So it gives you some guidance on trying to hone some of your skills in the arcane. And so you'll have time to play around with that a little bit over the next bit of time. But yeah, you end up making your way back. And so, does anybody else have loose ends from the downtime stuff, or should we jump into just a little bit? It's 9:30 or so right now. We've got some time. Kind of talk a little bit about where we're gonna go next, in game talk.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Yeah, your video's
What?
frozen though.
Yeah, my video froze. I don't know. I restarted the little app, but it's still not coming back in Discord. So
Well,
I
we
think
can-
I would have to disconnect from Discord.
Okay. Well,
But
we can
that-
hear you.
But
Yeah.
that would just talk to my frozen face.
Yeah.
It's how I always think of you.
All right.
It's rather telling that your shirt can perfectly read "Stay on target."
It actually
now
froze in a really good position.
you are eternally unwavering.
It's a good angle. It's a good
It is.
angle.
It's your best angle.
All right, now that we're on the internet, at least you can hear me still.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Wow, Seekers.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So where do we go
Finally.
from here? I mean,
Well-
we have
I guess the options are: do we move on or dig into Monmurg a little bit, right?
I am waiting on like a little bit of research, so I would like a little longer here.
And I was just gonna say, sorry, I was just gonna throw out there that we haven't heard about the sale of our cargo yet either.
right.
Yep, there are a few things that I think we could do here. So a few tidbits that I picked up. It seems to me that there may be some work for specifically the Sea Prince, dealing with this Commodore of Jetsam Island.
Right. Yeah, I heard about that a little too.
Oh yeah, so it sounds like he's just a kind of a vagabond. Doesn't agree with the prince about slavery or something. And depending on how that goes, I'm willing to side with either side, but we should probably do a little more research on that while we're here, because it could be an opportunity for some monetary gain for our ship at least.
Sorry, I was just gonna throw out. Have any of you guys heard about the kingdom? Heard of the kingdom of Shar before?
No.
Nope.
I was just gonna relate that the prince has been getting swayed by the kingdom of Shar to expand the nation and conquest, through conquest, down the Azure coastline.
You know, when another nation is telling your nation to pick fights, that's usually a really bad idea.
Yeah, that sounded weird.
That's like if I say you should go pick a fight with that guy, it's because I'm asking you to turn your back.
So
Interesting.
yeah.
My thoughts are, one, we should definitely get some work. Hard stop. With less.
We could
Yeah,
use a little more money too, yeah.
Yeah, Alesko seems like the best place to do that, and he's very well connected. I have been sitting in the same building with nobles for like a week, and this is me. I don't smell, but only because I'm magic. So he's very well connected. But on a related note, I'd really like to pursue this missing sailor from the Griffin Wing, because I give
Yeah.
a shit about money and, maybe helping out my friends here. So, hey, that's where I'm going.
I feel like we need to look into the missing sailor just in case it was your brother, Irin.
You're
I
absolutely
agree.
I mean, I don't want to leave town and then just find Solana and Griffin Wing and find out that it was your brother.
That was him. Didn't you see him?
You know?
And
At least find
realistically-
somebody that knows more.
Well, and even if it's not Khuda, right? It's somebody like, assuming this person is still alive, it's somebody we could have in our possession who was on the Griffin Wing
Right.
recently, who has firsthand knowledge. Maybe not everything. It could just be,
It's a step closer.
the cabin boy. Is that a role on a ship? I don't know. I'm not a
Yes,
sailor.
yes, it is. We do not have one
It is
because we are not terrible people.
we don't have enough room for. a
But if it
cabin
is,
boy.
it's got to be like a 30-something-year-old washed-up comedian.
for sure.
I do have
Maybe that was mean.
there's a man
Accurate.
now named
Harsh.
Ebenezer Klavak, who also has access to 3 more greater health potions. I think
We need health potions.
yeah, we should
Yeah.
fire as much of that as we can.
Come again?
I bought as much
Much
as I
money as you
could
can.
afford at the time, but I think there's more there that we could get access to that would be really good for the ship.
I agree.
You guys want to make a purchase of some potions?
Yes.
I'm not
Alright.
against making a purchase of potions.
How much-
He's got a bunch
much
of
were they again?
potions.
Yeah, I think he's got 3 greater potions left.
He has 3 greater healing potions left. They're each 100 gold. And then he has a bunch of other potions too. Stuff you probably wouldn't be interested in.
Or we would. I like the unclouded thought one. The idea of that sounds awesome.
I like that he's also got a bunch of cocaine.
You know.
My thought was like, have you ever seeked for treasures on weed?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Theo will purchase 2 of those greater potions.
I'll purchase the other one.
Did you guys
alright.
catch the Aldous Huxley reference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah, it wasn't lost.
Yeah, all right.
I have no idea who that is, actually.
Oh, such a youngster.
He wrote a book titled The Doors of Perception that was pretty much about doing psychedelics.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Read it.
So, Dave, can I just take 100 gold off and buy one of those potions?
Yeah, there's 3 of them total. So Runar's got 1 of them for 100 gold. There's 2 more.
And then
Theo-
Theo, I
Theo's
think we
grabbing
can
those.
Theo wants 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Theo wants 2.
Okay, so that's all of them. Great.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear what else he has in terms of potions?
Sure.
I definitely do.
And the magic items would be great too.
He's got potion of unclouded thought, which he tells you allows the person who drinks it to perfectly remember anything in their memory. They also get a extremely high recall value for history and religion and arcana.
How much does he want for that?
The potion of unclouded thought is only 50 gold.
Theo takes it without hesitation,
Okay.
Would that help us with the journal?
among other things.
Okay.
Pour it on the journal and see if the journal remembers its secrets.
And then rub the journal on your
I'm
head.
not letting you pour that on my journal.
He has
Get outta here.
potions of water breathing.
Oh.
He has a
We could
potion
be
of
maybe-
cure disease. A potion of
We're
cure
sailing.
poison.
I don't
He
know.
has 3 doses of an eternal youth potion, which seems weird.
I don't need that.
I'm
He
not sure how I
has-
feel about that.
Yeah, he has a beard grow potion.
Theo needs that.
Actually, how much is the beard grow potion?
Rude but true.
It's only 10 gold.
I'll buy it.
Okay. So if you pour it on your chin, you'll grow a beard instantly. Actually,
Beard
actually,
is the greatest gift.
it grows. It'll grow hair anywhere.
Anywhere?
Yeah.
That's
man.
getting worse. How much
I
did
could
he
make
want
a
for
hand puppet with a beard.
the? Oh god.
Mhm.
How much did he want for the water breathing potion?
30 gold.
We should probably pick up a few of those as holdouts because we're on the sea and sometimes things come out of the sea and go back down with things like our people.
That's it.
If we're gonna buy that, we should buy him out of the ship fund. Because
Well, I can do that with my helmet. Just saying.
Yeah, you
Yeah, but
can.
that's you.
But I could use a partner.
Exactly. You got to have a buddy.
You can't.
Buddy
fight the
system is
dragon
key.
By itself.
We do
Yeah.
live on a boat, so
If you're
maybe
gonna
we
if you're
should
gonna
find-
go on the ocean, you gotta wait until an hour after you had lunch, and you gotta
And
use the
have a
buddy
buddy.
system.
Yep.
We
Everybody
here at,
knows that.
We here at Beyond Saltmarsh are nothing if not safe when it comes to swimming.
That's right. It's risk management, baby.
Yeah.
Does anyone else want to buy those potions, or
I'm
am
gonna
I going
wait-
to have to?
I'm gonna wait.
How much are they?
I want to wait until we hear what else is there.
Yeah, how much are the underwater breathing?
Water
potions?
breathing, 30 gold pieces.
And how many does he have?
He has 3 of them.
I'll buy all 3 for 90.
You're a good man, Rhunar Deg.
Okay. He has something that is labeled Love Tonic.
Well,
High priced though, 100 gold pieces, and he describes it to you as, let's just say this is actually super Stalkerville, but basically what it does is the drinker of the potion has to make a charisma save, or they fall in love with the next person they meet. Or the next person they see within 1 hour. So there's that. There's a potion of gaseous form. And then there's something called Dead Man's Draught.
what on earth does that do?
Well, he tells you the drinker becomes cold and clammy with a slightly rotten odor after drinking this potion. Basically, it makes you look and smell and feel like you're dead.
That actually could come in handy occasionally. I don't know if we need it, but that's the type of thing that comes in handy occasionally.
How much is that gaseous form potion too?
The potion of gaseous form is 100 gold pieces.
Oh man, I'm buying it. I'm at 2 gold now.
Oh, shit.
You're
What
broke.
is...
Running down the resources.
Always broke, or at least
true.
pretends like he.
He also has a magic shield. I'm just going to toss that out there.
He does. have a magic shield.
How much is the dead man's draught?
50 gold.
I don't 50 gold need that as a use.
Does he have any other interesting items that folks in our line of business might find useful?
Well, I don't usually show this sort of product, but since I know your friend and we're all acquainted, he pulls out a small case.
And
It's
we
a wooden-
just bought over half your stock.
It's a wooden box. And he unlatches the clasp and opens it up, and there are a couple of vials in it. And he says, "These are very powerful poisons. This here," he holds up, "is black cap poison." And he points out he's got black cap poison. He's got something called crawler mucus. And the last one he has is called serpent venom.
I actually know what one of those is, and it's still terrifying.
Yep.
They're very expensive, though.
Not that
Yes,
would
I
be
imagine,
interested
because
in.
yes, I'm good.
I want them, but I can't afford them.
Yeah, they're all listed as 200 gold pieces each for 1 dose.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
look at my captain, and I'll be like, Rhunar, my captain.
Wow.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
You have the ship
Yeah.
funds at your disposal.
Kirk, move your mic a little closer to your face.
Sorry, I turned my output down a little bit so that it wouldn't be.
That's right. You're good now.
You're
Okay.
good now. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
I'll-
we need the ship funds. We don't have that much left.
We're
Yeah,
about
we need
to
the
make
ship
a bunch of
funds
money.
to-
We're about to make a ton of money off of our goods.
Well, you can certainly come back anytime.
Don't sell these.
Don't sell what?
He doesn't normally show them to people.
Yes,
Yeah.
these are a private stash, if you will.
Yes, I understand.
I'll purchase the dead man's draught
Okay. 50 gold.
for 50 gold, please.
Nice.
You're a good man,
he-
Rhunar Deg.
Does he have other items in the
Oh
shop?
yeah, I mean he's got navigational items. He has
Eyeglass?
Yeah, does he have
tools.
eyeglass for sale?
He certainly does.
Ooh. Ugh. How much is it?
Hold on, let me bring up the equipment lists for spyglass. It is 1,000 gold pieces.
Oh, that's rich.
Yeah.
Let me try and talk him down.
Yeah, is there any way we can get a discount?
I heard that.
I know you heard that. I'm just trying. This is me attempting to talk you down. I'm not trying to. I don't want to deceive you.
Well, you see him kind of squint at you, but with these glasses that are thick and his eyes are just huge. I'll give it to you for 900. But I'm taking a hit. But I like you. But I'm taking a hit.
Oh man, I don't want to pay him less than 950. Guys.
It'll
Shut
cost
up,
you
I'll pay him
950. Deal. Sold.
Rhunar?
That's like
Still too much?
that's like 90% of my funds.
It's better than 1,000.
Yeah, it is.
I guess it really comes down to do you
How
want it
badly do
or
you
not?
think we need it?
I think it would be really beneficial, and especially because we're about to make a lot of money off of our cargo.
Yeah, but that's like boat.
emphasize that.
That's like boat money. This is
Yeah,
Rhunar
but I mean-
money.
But look at it like this: you can reimburse yourself from the boat money because this spyglass is going to
1,000
benefit the
gold.
boat.
That's like
In his defense, I would not be averse to spending a portion of the ship money on a ship's spyglass because that is actually very important for
we
the
needed it on the way
ship
here.
Yeah.
portion.
beneficial.
You
for the
You
ship.
could go halvesies.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, dude.
I'll pay for it now, and then I'll just reimburse myself a portion later.
Okay.
Cool.
So
So that's
950.
950.
Yep, you have yourself a spyglass. I know you've wanted one for a while.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
I used to know a guy back in Irongate. His name was Dutcherson, and he never paid full price for anything. We used to call it going Dutch. Oh, that was bad.
Okay.
Sorry.
That was
really
great.
bad.
I was with you the whole time until I was like, wait a minute, you son of a bitch.
We'll edit and post.
That was great. Going Dutch.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
that's
understood it.
maybe that'll be the name of this episode.
Go Dutch.
Has to be now.
Yeah.
Going Dutch on a spyglass.
Yeah, it will make no sense for the content of this episode until this very moment, but we
But
will know
sometimes
what it
that-
means. Yeah.
Sometimes that payoff is good.
All right, cool. So you guys make a bunch of purchases at Clovox Emporium. He is very happy. He provides whatever services he can to you and advice, etc. And you guys make your way back to the Good Buddy, where you have just a little bit of time. We've got about 10 minutes or so to just kind of discuss the plan for maybe for next session.
All right.
And I know that you guys have talked about maybe doing some investigation about this Khuda situation, the missing sailor. You've talked a little bit about, well, that's the main thing that you guys have actually talked about in terms of what will happen next in Monmurg. You have not yet been paid for your cargo, so there's still that aspect of it as well, of meeting with Alesco and finalizing the sale of your wine and silks, which could happen anytime after this downtime.
Right.
Yeah, I would say the hard plan at this point, speaking out of character, is I would think it'd be go do investigation at the Weary Traveler, find more on cult or sailor, depending. When the Electo, his name suddenly blew out of my brain.
Alesco?
Alesco.
Alesco Mariconia. How can you forget that?
Well, I remembered Mariconia for some reason.
Oh,
But when we
perfect.
hear from Alesco, ask about that other job he offered because that's probably reliable. I would say does that sound like a good plan, gentle people?
If we're gonna
Yeah, I
do
would say look into the missing sailor cult /
We could probably
Griffin Way.
even two-prong it, right? Have some of us like inquire around. Hey, there was this sailor that's gone missing, and then maybe some others of us inquire about this cult thing, try to track down some leads. That way we can cover more ground and maybe get some things that we would miss if we tried to do one thing and then got in a shindig.
Absolutely. Okay. That's great. So that gives us some direction for the next session. Yeah. Awesome. So you guys
All right.
have gathered a ton of intel. You've spent a lot of coin on some much needed supplies. You're awaiting payment for your cargo that you carried with you from Saltmarsh. You've made good on your promise to track down the stolen fruits for Lesko Mariconia. Classic D&D fetch quest for fruit. I mean, come on. Doesn't that happen all the time? And actually, that might be the first one. I don't know. If you're out there watching and you've done a fruit quest before, let us know. Send us a message, all right? We want to hear about it.
Fruit Quest.
Yep.
My
Fruit
15-page RPG zine.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, we should publish this on the DM's Guild.
We should.
Fruit Quest. All right. So, great. We'll pick up next time, next session, next week with an examination of the leads that we have for the cult / Khuda whereabouts / missing sailor.
Hell yeah.
To add to that, I have a anecdote I didn't toss in earlier about fantasy names and also sounding like drugs. Once a long time ago, my friends and I were putting together a kingdom. A friend had some surgery done. It was on Vicodin. And we're sitting around having this conversation about, we're going to put a kingdom here, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, we should call it Vicodania. We just stared at him, and we couldn't unhear it or unthink it anymore. And now I've passed that on to you. Enjoy the curse.
That's kind of a rad name for a kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah, the cultist guy's name kind of does sound like a antifungal. I will admit that right away.
I love it. It's great, actually.
I actually pulled some elements of what that story could be from the Greyhawk Treasures of Greyhawk. I don't know if anybody. Hopefully, you guys haven't seen that because don't look at it. But for those that are watching, Treasures of Greyhawk is an interesting resource with a lot of possible fun for your campaigns in Greyhawk. Really digging Greyhawk.
Nice.
We're having a blast here playing around with the Azure Sea, and I'm glad you guys are coming along with me. I appreciate it. Let's say goodbye to the folks that are still with us. Commander Root, go with him. Kirk Ski Bob, Sad Girl, Silly Gnome 225, Valkyrie Bait, and Andy G 3D. Thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. And hell, we'll see you next time. Next week.
Take care, y'all.
Bye.